just a couple of days ago. Isn't it amazing how time flies? Let's start off with Harvest Fest. What an amazing weekend it was. The wine was absolutely fantastic. The vendors there had some great products. The food is always fabulous. And I want to thank everyone who stopped by my table and said hello and gave me a sip of their wine while I was working. It made the day go by much, much faster. A lot of things going on. And as I promised, we have our election interviews going on, our interviews of the candidates. Today, I have Al Ballard. For those of you that don't know Al, he is running for mayor. I don't know how anyone could not know you, Al.
I saw a lot at the Harvest Festival, that's for sure.
Absolutely. But, of course, those are a lot of people from out of town. But anyway, I'm going to let him say a quick hello first. But he and his wife own the Canyon City Queen Anne, which is an amazing tea house restaurant. I mean, there's so many different categories you could put the Queen Anne in.
That's true. And it's Linda's dream.
And it is fabulous. I really, really love it. The two of you do a fantastic job there. But you are here because you have a vision for Canyon City. And I remember you and I talked some time ago, and I said to you, why don't you run for office?
Yes, you did.
But I wasn't the first one that said that.
No, there's been people after me for a while.
So why don't you tell us a little bit about what your campaign is based on?
Okay, thank you, Lisa. And by the way, I appreciate being here and working with you. It's been a pleasure, and you're really representing the chamber the way it needs to be represented. So
thank you.
Let me tell a little something. First of all, let me just start by saying who I am. I think people know Linda because she's the tea lady, but I've been in the background quite a bit. I do a little marketing, but the truth of the matter is this was Linda's dream. We came down here 15 years ago. We found the old structure, and we got into the zoning, found out it was central business. We could do a lot with that. And we started renovation, and it took us 5 years, and the business has been open for 8 years, and we're currently the #1 TripAdvisor restaurant in Canyon City. So we're real proud of that. But I wanted people to get an idea of who I am and where we've come from. We haven't just arrived in town. We've been here, and we understand the community. Prior to that, I was in the corporate world for 30 years, and I did sales throughout America, Canada, and overseas. So I understand the sales process. And when I looked at the role of mayor, one of the things that I saw was we need to get somebody out there with our city representation. Now, everyone realizes the mayor's responsibilities do not include voting.
Right.
It's just the fact that the council runs everything, and so they can become tunnel vision pretty quick.
Does the mayor vote if it's a tie?
Only a tie. That's okay. The only way that it'll happen.
That's the only time your vote counts.
Exactly. But what the mayor can do, and successful mayors do, is they cast vision, and that helps the council. If you don't cast vision, then the council gets buried in the day-to-day, month-to-month, and week-to-week things that they got to do. So as a mayor, you have to cast vision. You have to see something that other people haven't seen, or you find opportunities that you can bring to the attention of people, because really the council pays attention to people. And, the mayor might have some input, but the truth of the matter is we start getting people coming to those council meetings, which hasn't happened for a while. They start showing up and participating. That changes the whole culture of the council.
How do you feel you'll go about getting more people to attend the meetings?
I think one of the things is you got to have a pretty big vision to get people interested. And obviously my real focus is expanding the central business district of Canyon City. Everywhere you look, you go to any city, neighbors to the east, Pueblo, you go to Salida to the west, and both of those communities have found that their real success has come when they've expanded the central business district to include things that's amazing, water. And here we sit with the beautiful Arkansas River going through a portion of downtown, which should be part of central business.
I love that fact. I mean, you and I have talked about that in detail.
Yep.
And I really see that as a future for Canyon City. But let me ask, because you brought it up, on the city council meetings, have you been attending them?
I have attended some of them during the planning sessions. I was very involved in the redevelopment planning. In fact, at the very beginning, I was there almost for every single meeting. And what I found was there was a pretty narrow perspective of doing the bridge redevelopment, which is critical. Got to continue that. And downtown development, but there had not been a focus on the river. And that was where I came along. And published a paper back in January of 2014, and I called it the Golden Triangle, which is really true. That's what we have, is a golden piece of property.
Absolutely, no question. But you have seen, of course, the renderings that were done, that the city rather had done, about bringing business to the river, correct?
I've seen some of the river corridor artist renderings.
Yes.
I think one of the keys that we have to be careful of when we're looking at that kind of stuff is we don't start to determine what it's going to be. And that's one of the issues that you always come up with when zoning and planning does things on their own. They kind of live in a world. But we have to start thinking in the terms of what would investors and developers and people that want a business on the river, what would they be looking for?
And I think what they did was they had a professional come in and do those renderings based on previous river business districts in the past. I mean, I don't think it was the planning department that actually did that, was it?
Oh, I think they were deeply involved. Yeah, and I think the council was involved too. And obviously the consultants that came to town, they had a kind of a prepackaged approach toward the way they did things, with the way the meetings were handled, how they gathered information, and so forth. And really, when you look at the developments that have been successful along rivers, they have been pretty general in what potentials there are, allowing those to see the opportunities. And that's one of the keys we need to do, is give others the opportunity to say, what could the river become?
So you, at this time, the renderings you have, you maybe disagree with to a certain percentage?
No, absolutely not. I think the renderings we have is always a good start.
Okay.
Now we need to focus. You know, a concept is one thing, and you pay money to have somebody come in and give you what they did do as consultants, but that doesn't necessarily mean what it's going to become. That just begins the process.
Right.
So now...
Because there's rezoning that has to be done for that area.
Exactly. And that was part of the reason why we came. We bought a piece of property, was zoned central business, and that told us we could do multiple things with it. If it had been zoned commercial, we would have been out of business.
Or you would have had to have gone in for a rezoning.
And that is really, really hard in any community, not just ours, but all communities.
Okay. And so let's go on so we don't run out of too much time here. We have several propositions coming up.
Mm-hmm.
One of them is the 1% tax increase for road improvement.
Correct.
And just wanted to get your feelings on that.
Well, you know, one of the first things I probably should have said is we're running a campaign that is unique. We don't have any yard signs. We don't buy advertising. We're not in print. We're not on the radio. We're basically doing everything through a website. And that website is www.think-al.com. When you go to that website, you will learn more about our position statements, more about our campaign strategy, more about me as an individual, about how we came here and what the visions we have for our community. So basically, we put everything on the website. If you want to know anything about us, you can just go straight to the website. You want to get our newsletters, you want to find about events where we're going to be speaking, everything is at one location, www.think-al.com.
And I was on that. I was on that today.
Outstanding.
And checking it out. I mean, obviously, I wanted to know the right questions to ask. But since we do have people listening today, do you want to state your position on the 1% tax increase?
I would be very glad to do that. I'm going to state the position in two ways. One as a mayor, and one as an individual, because I think it's very important to know the difference between the two of them. As a mayor and somebody responsible down the road, to be able to get out and get investors and developers and those people coming to our area and investing in things like the river, I have to say I question right now the right timing of doing the 1%, because I think it sets something up that investors and developers I've worked with in the past start questioning what is coming next. And we have a lot of issues coming at us in the next couple of years. We have a forestry issue that's not budgeted. We have cost of police force wages that need to be addressed.
And several of the last city council meetings, they have been addressed.
Yeah, and we're starting to really feel what's happened, because when we lost those revenues from the bridge fire, it sent a shiver through a community that had been dependent since 1928 on income coming from an actually city-owned piece of property. So all of a sudden here we have to start determining what we're going to do and how we're going to go forward. And that's where I'm saying we have to start thinking as other cities do that don't have a gift like the bridge. Other cities don't have a gift, so they have to find ways to draw businesses and people here, and they constantly grow.
Well, of course, I'm of the belief, and I think you are too, that we have many, many gifts in our community.
Absolutely.
Obviously, the bridge is the longest lived. And maybe not really, because our DOC system was here before the bridge, as I recall. And we now have a very large system of Department of Corrections here in the area that I consider to be a huge asset. What about you?
Well, it just happens to be that's one of the positions that you'll find on a website. I do believe, because we serve a lot of the DOC employees, a lot of anniversaries and birthdays, and we treasure those people. We've gone behind the walls. We understand what they deal with on a daily basis. During my tenure, I'm going to work extremely hard to find a way by which we can honor the DOC, the staff, the administration, and the services that support them with an annual thing, an annual date, and that day really is honoring DOC, that we have an annual banquet, that we bring people together and we honor those that work at the DOC and support the DOC, and that we start looking for something that happened in Texas a long time ago. They have a Hall of Fame for the Texas Rangers. I want to create a Hall of Fame for the Department of Corrections, Colorado, and I want it to be in Canyon City as one of the reasons, one of the destinations of coming to the city, because we need to change it from being a destination bridge. It needs to be destination Canyon City and bridge. We need to have people come here for longer periods of time, not just to drive through. We're not pass-through community. We can't live on that anymore. We have to become a destination. That means we have to do new things.
And of course, just to mention again, we've got the railroad.
Yep.
We have gold medal fishing right through the middle of our town.
Yep.
We have paleontology, we have geology, we have mountain climbing, we have incredible weather. So we really are more than just a bridge.
Absolutely. Plus, you got two of the finest dining establishments you'd ever want to go to. We love our competition.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And one of the other propositions we have coming up is the tourism tax.
Mm-hmm.
It's a 2% tax on lodging, whether it be motorhome RV parks or hotels and bed and breakfasts. And how do you feel about that?
You know, I never have had a problem with tax increases relative to tourism or things that people are participating from outside of our area. I have a problem with infrastructure taxation, especially sales tax. That throws up a big flag that strategic planning long-term, we have missed something. We don't come to this point and have the problems we have without some strategic planning being in question. One of the things I bring as a mayor is a strategic executive background. And that would be one of my goals with the council, is to find how do we solve these problems with strategic planning and not reactionary planning.
And I noticed on your website you mentioned that you wanted to go over the budget and see where you could change things to be able to apply more to the roads. And I guess what my question is have you gone over the budget? Because isn't that public knowledge?
It is not public knowledge. And that's the interesting part about it. And it's really one of my last points that I want to talk about today. I'm a believer in technology. I love technology. Okay, and so when we're looking at technology, why can't I go on the website of the city and see all of the budget, see all of the allocations, and see it by detail?
But can't you go pick it up at the city? Isn't it available?
No, you have to pay for it. So why?
But it's available. You can get it.
Why can't I have it for free on the website? Tell me why that website isn't more interactionary with those.
And you're talking about the new website that they just put out.
Yeah, and we need to move on that. That website has to become more interactionary. It has to be more of a polling mechanism. It has to be a communicator. It has to have visuals. It needs audio. We have to move that so that people in the community have an opportunity to know what's going on other than print.
So in other words, they just put out all this money to redo the website, and you think you might want to redo it again?
I don't want to redo it. I just want to make it better. You know, I want to make it more interactionary with the businesses and the people that live here. That's really what I want to do about technology. That's why I do think-al.com. It's a whole strategy of, if you're going to think about me, go to the website. And you've gone to the website, there's nothing about me you can't find on that website. It has my life story on that website. You have everything you need to know about me. I'm not a sign.
Well, Al, I want to thank you for being here today with us. Thank you for talking with the people of Canyon City and Fremont County and giving them a little idea about who you are and about about you, basically, and what you stand for, and as well as giving them the tools to be able to learn more. I'd also like to invite them to our meet and greet that the Chamber of Commerce is having. It will be at 523 Main Street. That is just west of 6th Street on Main Street, on the north side of the street. It's in the old bistro, and the Chamber's going to be supplying appetizers. There's going to be a cash bar, and the majority of the candidates, I know we have had one candidate that has said they're not going to be able to make it, but the majority of the candidates are going to be there and have the opportunity to talk with all the people that come in. It's going to be on First Friday, October 2nd, from 5 to 7. And I thank you for attending that meeting.
I look forward to it.
So that everyone can get to know you. And as well, remember that Ty Dick, the owner of the bistro, of the previous bistro, is going to have the restaurant open for dinner that night, but you are going to need reservations to attend. Call the Chamber, 275-2331, and we'll help you get those reservations set. As well, we have several events coming up on October 3rd. We have Apple Day, of course, in Penrose, which is always a great, great day with lots of wonderful people that come down from the Springs. And
great pie.
Great pie, and they're going to have fireworks. The Penrose Park and Rec is putting on fireworks that evening.
That's cool.
Yeah, so it's going to be bigger and better than ever. But, of course, starts off the morning as well with the Rim to Rim run that's put on by Star Point. And that's going to be a great event. They already have over 200 booked runners for that, and they run across the bridge, and it includes lunch and all sorts of great things. So if you need information from that, go on canyonscity.com and go to Rim to Rim, and you'll be able to pull up the contact people on that one. Also, the Chamber of Commerce is having their Cara Fisher Memorial Arts and Crafts Festival. This is our inaugural festival.
Yay!
Yeah, and Al is real excited about that because we are bringing focus to the river and the potential for the river in the Central Business District in Canyon City here.
It's going to be awesome.
There's an art contest, as people know, and we have a $500 first prize for that. For the winner of that contest. The Arts and Crafts Festival, we do still have a few places available. If you wish to be a vendor, call the Chamber, 275-2331, and we can get you booked in a spot. We have had a sponsor that has picked up all vendor fees, so it is free if you would like a 10x10 booth. Like I said, just call the Chamber, 275-2331. We'll get you set up, and that's going to be Saturday, October 3rd, from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. So, again, I want to thank Al Ballard for being our guest today.
Thank you, Lisa. I'd just like to make one point about that festival. The community loved Cara Fisher.
They did indeed.
Cara Fisher was such an instrument of our history. The History Center, her knowledge, her energy. So this is an honoring. This is, come and see Cara Fisher art.
We are. We're actually, and I mentioned this morning because I was on the radio this morning, that we're going to have a booth of Cara's art, showcasing her art there. We're also going to have a booth of PCC students that are selling their art, and a booth of PCC students that are painting and drawing and bringing recognition to the arts program at PCC Fremont campus. I'm really excited about those booths. But you're right. Cara Fisher worked tirelessly to improve our community through the art, and we owe it to her to recognize her and to have an ongoing art festival in her name. And I'm honored that her daughter gave us permission to do this.
Fantastic. Lisa, thank you.
Thank you, Al. And as always, if you have any questions, give us a call at the Chamber. We're happy to help you, 275-2331, and I will see you at the Chamber.
Here are the smart secrets that help